Well, my "Where Am I" story was one of the first explorations of a philosophical idea, the idea of the brain in the vat that is kept alive and can think. And I imagined that my brain was uh, surgically removed, but connected to my body by radio links, and that I was sent on a mission uh, deep underground where radiation would have fried my brain if I hadn't left it behind. And then that turned into an adventure where I had a duplicate brain, a computer duplicate brain, and then I think the main point of the main points of the story were first. There's a scene where I'm looking at my brain in the vat for the first time, and I'm thinking, here I am staring at my own brain in a bubbling fluid. And then I wonder, well, why am I not thinking, here I am being stared at by my own eyes? Because the brain that's doing that thinking is in the vat, but it seems that I'm outside looking in. And so one of the points I wanted to make is where you think your mind is has much more to do with where your eyes and ears are than where your brain is. For all you know, maybe your brain's been moved into your chest and you've stuffed lungs into your cranium or something. You wouldn't know. So that was one point I wanted to make, was that we're not authoritative about where our minds are. That is where the work is being done, where the actual processes are happening. And the other point I wanted to stress is that we can't even tell, we have actually underprivileged access to the causation of our own thoughts. We think them, they're ours, we're pretty sure they're ours, but we have no real access to what's making that happen. And if you want to understand how consciousness works, you're going to have to do third-person science. You're going to have to do brain science, neuroscience, cognitive neuroscience, computer science, and so forth, because only a third-person investigation of the scientific questions is ever going to answer that question.
So maybe just to recapitulate a little bit, from the first-person standpoint, we don't have the sort of privileged access to the workings of consciousness or the mind the way that people have thought since Descartes, perhaps. And this leads...
since Descartes, really. His famous thought experiment of the evil demon and imagining that he doesn't have a body it's a brilliant thought experiment, a brilliant intuition pump, but I think it's just wrong. And he set philosophers off on a wild goose chase that's lasted hundreds of years, because it's given people the idea that they are the sometimes even incorrigible or infallible judges of what their own thoughts are, and that they are their own thoughts, and that this is a privileged vantage point they have. Well, of course, there is a sense in which I know what I'm thinking before you do, or better than you do, but that's only an empirically usually guaranteed advantage, and it can be overridden by science. And the idea that people might say, well, I'm sorry, you're wrong. That's not what's happening in your consciousness right now. Let me tell you what's happening in your consciousness. And you can be proven wrong. And that in itself is a fact that drives some people just wild. They are so unhappy with that idea. But that's the truth. And I've tried over the years to show why the claims of first-person authority are not what they seem to be. There is a sort of first-person authority. That's why if I want to know what you're thinking, I ask you. Who would know better? And in general, you are the go-to person about what you're thinking. But that doesn't mean that you have to be right. It just means that given the way language works, we couldn't do better than asking you. If we want to find out what you're actually thinking, we have to start by asking you. And at that point, you're the spokesperson of your own mind. But that's a position that you can fail to execute correctly.